tell you.
Yes, we're good.
All right. Well, I gotta mute my YouTube here in a second because my volume's probably on. There'll be a lot of back. Oh, it's already muted. All right, that's up. All right. What's up, Crashed It Nation? We're back with another episode of the Crashed It Podcast. Today, joining me on the podcast, it's my honor to introduce you guys to the one and the only Eric Reed, the 71X, DMP proud. Eric, thank you for joining me on the podcast.
Oh, no, I appreciate you having me on here.
And Eric, for our listeners, we're a nationwide podcast. A lot of people may have never even heard of you before, and one of the most comments I get is they love hearing how people got involved in demolition derby or how they got started with this combat motorsport is what the world's learning about. And how'd you get started?
Because my dad, Jake Reed, he started in 06. I took it serious, and he's here with me right now. If he wants to give a little insight on it. And to say how you got started.
Got in the car and drove it.
That's true.
It's a generation. So you're a second generation driver. Jake, did you get started from a family thing or was it friends that got you involved?
Friends. I think I built my first derby car when I was 13. My cousin drove it.
So 13 years old, and is when you built it. When was your first drive?
95. I didn't like it much.
Why is that?
Wasn't for me. Took me a while to get used to it.
Because you're probably competitive and
yeah, we used to do a lot of circle racing at Whole Summit and Moberly.
So we've seen a lot of that on the podcast here. We've seen a lot of circle track drivers cross over to the demolition derby world, or we'll have derby car drivers cross over into the circle track racing, or however it be. But
I never drove. I never drove the dirt cars. I just worked on them.
So I gotta ask, because I personally, there's a lot of people that probably don't know, and I don't know. What's DMP even stand for?
Derby make you poor.
Love it.
That's what I always said.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Dirty Missouri Posse is what they come up with a long time ago.
Yeah. So, well, Eric, so we heard how your dad kind of got into it. So you just followed his footsteps. Were you around the sport a lot when he was driving? Or?
It wasn't loud in the shop. That was about it. Yeah. And then after that, I got into sports. Then once I graduated, I was like, I want to do this now, finally. And his rule was always no kids and no women in the shop.
He had to focus. He wasn't put up with no crap. So, wow, that is interesting. So I was thinking you were going to get on here and say, man, I learned all these tricks in the book from my dad, and I didn't get to hear that at all. So now is it a learning curve? Like, does he help you out now in the shop, or was it like, here's the shop? And
he does a lot. He does a lot.
Can't have no losers.
So in Central Missouri, Jake, do you still work on drivetrains and stuff?
Yeah.
For people around? Is that still alive? Like, are you still doing all that for the Derby guys, or is it just?
Oh yeah, a lot of trainings and motors too.
Yeah, a lot of people that are going to watch this, they have no idea. They've probably heard your name, I'm sure, on the local and the national level, but they probably don't know a lot about what you do, and it's always interesting to kind of hear what people do and stuff. So, Eric, so tell me what interests you about Derby? Like, why do you even do it?
Because of him, he's always coming home with a trophy and a paycheck. Well, my late grandpa, he said, "You better come home with that statue and that paycheck, and that's it." And it's stuck with me.
It looks like how long have you been doing this? When did you start?
This is my third year.
Third year. That's what I thought.
First year, well, it didn't go so good. I mean, I won my first show, but that's because there's only 4 cars. He wasn't nothing. I started. So it went on.
Kind of lost you for a second. Can you hear me?
What'd you hear? What you didn't hear?
Probably most of it. It was all like in and out on my end.
Well, I was always told,
I heard bring home the statue and all that.
Statue paycheck.
You were talking about your first year, kind of.
Yeah, I won my first Derby, but he told me, he said, "I ain't putting in you nothing fancy. You're gonna start out how I started." I didn't have no problem with it. Rough.
Stock motors, stock training, bunch of junk.
Very rough.
Basically a stock car. And what class were you running in?
Stock.
Just the stock class.
Stock class. Okay. And now fast forward 3 years. This is your third year. What are you driving mostly now?
Well, I guess people could say I've been babying this car now. I've ran it all year. Got 4 wins on it in 2 seconds. I'm in the super stock class now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just looking back at this weekend and what I've seen at the first go around at Eldon, when you came earlier in the year, driving smart, picking your shots. Looks like that seat time's really starting to pay off for you. You're not keeping your head on a swivel, and you're not taking that show-stopping shot that you could take. And
yeah, I did that last year.
That happens sometimes. Oh, them shots they're good for the cameraman though. I love them. But I know the guys that bring their cars home and you're looking at your bumper head height or whatever, you're like, yeah, this is a lot of work to bring this back.
In the car this past Saturday, I thought it was higher than what it was, but the hood was it buckled up, and so I thought I was really in a bad spot.
So how'd you get your number 71X? How'd that come about?
I had a cousin pass away in 2010 in September. He was 1X. Your dad's always been 7X. So I ain't gonna do 17X because that was Jason Grismore's number. So I'm switch it up, put 71 in there.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, Jacob's boy kind of did the same thing. Jacob was always 17, and his car's rolling down the youth car's rolling down the driveway with 71 on. He said, "Oh, I just flip them around." But yep, I love hearing how people get their numbers. So, Jake, I heard how the 71 got here. How'd the 7X come about?
Yeah, Eddie Ridgway used to drive derbies up here, and well, he's from Hallsville. That's how I got the 7. And The X is from like Tony Saxton. The X boys. I know them boys. So
So were you all running X's on your numbers, or
I always have. Even my wife drove her with the X on her number.
it's good to hear. So Eric, you came to Eldon with to run a Lucky Seven show this past weekend for the Turkey Festival. Just kind of walk us through how'd Tech go. Tech seemed pretty fair.
Yeah, tech was fine. Didn't change anything, but
Got 2 plates.
cut 2 plates and put a race training in. That was about it.
So with the Tech that we see across Missouri, um, just in general, there's a lot of people around surrounding states that are kind of looking in. They're watching and thinking about coming and running some shows. Just give a general vicinity of what can you expect like for Tech wise? Is it people, do they know what they're looking at, or is it something that you feel like you can kind of squeak for a few things by? Or
Not really. It's pretty thorough.
Tommy pretty good at what he's doing.
yeah.
And the DSL is the other promoter I ran for too. They do a good job too, and that's why I only run Lucky Sevens and DSL.
Yeah, I was just curious. There's always, anyone that's been around the Derby world, there's always discussions about what you should do, and it's just kind of
There's always
interesting to hear.
crybabies.
Huh?
There's always some crybabies.
That and yeah.
Gonna have
But then there's overlooked things, and that's something that you don't want to be known for. But um, well, tell us. So you got through Tech first time. The weather was pretty good. How was the track for your class as the big cars went?
It was great. It was really solid. Only part that kind of would hurt your car is where the figure eights were running when they were cutting them circles. And then
Yeah.
other than that,
Yeah.
it was perfect.
Yeah, we talked after the show, and you said, "Man, I could definitely tell where those cars were turning at. There was a dip there, a dip here. It's kind of soft there."
They were
And
tearing it up, that's for sure.
there was a point in the Derby I didn't know if you were stuck or what. You were kind of in one of them holes, and luckily you got out of that. But,
Yeah.
let's see if we, what kind of car you're on.
That's all dead. It's a unicorn. Take it away.
It's a 76 Buick or 75 Buick LeSabre tow pack, ribby front stud with boxed in side rails.
Yeah, there was another 75 LeSabre there.
Yeah, the
That
one
night as well.
Bubby Johns was driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, except Eric's car's a whole lot better than that because of the frame and the stubs different.
Yeah.
They were both just as clean.
Yeah. Them are some clean cars. But so here's a for the people that are tuning in on YouTube, I've got some pictures up of Eric and his run, and we'll just go through some of these and take us through this moment. So at this moment, I see you looking over. You've got what was going through your mind in this picture.
At this moment, I figured that get the party started. I know every single buddy out there, and 4 of us were from Hallsville, so there ain't no reason for 4 cars to hit on 1 car from Eldon. So I just figured start it early instead of get started on.
Yeah. That's always the you don't want to be the person that it's not like sometimes in demolition derby you want to be the first one to throw the punch, you know. You're either the hammer or the nail. That's what I've always said. So kill or be
That's a
killed,
lot.
and especially when there's a lot less cars on the track, you kind of got to make things happen quick before they happen to you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's see here. That's a
That
good
was a
one
good
there.
one. That's my buddy. My dad's buddy. That's Will White and me. That's me and
Yeah,
Luke
so that's
West. He's in the other.
321.
He's in my dad's Cadillac and Border Wars, and I ain't gonna hit him before I hit Will. We build out at the same shop. That's just how it's gonna be.
And this was one of my favorite points in the Derby. Um, Luke is, you see him, he's kind of over there, and you're kind of in a bind right here.
Oh yeah,
And
no,
he
I
just
was
backed her up to the wall and sent it. Uh, and that kind of, I think that was the turning point. Uh, once the other car dropped out, once you kind of knocked him out. But I think this kind of solidified what happened after this. And everybody on the Lucky Sevens crew, we had this discussion 1,000 times, and I voted for him as my mad dog at the heat just because I thought he drove a hell of a derby, and uh, I kind of tried to do a point system in my head. I don't really know the right way to figure out a mad dog, but I think aggressive shots that they add up, and I kind of count in my head like how many like you know, this shot here could take out a driver. Like this is going to take out a car. And how many of those am I seeing? That's kind of how I figure it up. You heard it after the Derby. We hear, everybody, why didn't so and so get Mad Dog? And if everyone could come up with like a perfect way to pick a Mad Dog, please let us know because that's like I think if on the promotion side, that's the least favorite part of anything is you're everybody's watching. So like up here in the corner, so this is Andy. He's watching this section of the track. He's not really even paying attention to what might go on the other end of the track. So he's not going to see the same derby that everybody sees a different derby from their point of view,
oh
and it
yeah.
makes it hard. You can't do crowd votes because the crowd, you're going to get the hometown boy every time. Um, so you just kind of the way we do it is everybody votes on a car, and there's like 9 of us, and whoever has the most votes is the who won the Mad Dog. But I told them after the Derby, I said, you drove an awesome Derby from my point of view. I thought you should have got Mad Dog, but like I said, how do you judge that? And I'm interested to see how Sam. I don't know if you guys heard about his big Mad Dog prize coming up, but I'm interested to see how he's even planning on doing that. But
Which show? Versailles or Fulton?
no, it's Sam Williams.
Never mind. Yeah, never
Yeah,
mind.
he may not. There's a big Mad Dog prize coming up. I don't know. Uh, it'll be out eventually, and I'm just curious to see of that multitude of cash. Like, how do you pick a person? Like they've got to have some kind of system that they're going to try out just for that show. Like, because I know like $1,000, you're like, man, who? This is intense. You got multiple guys that are deserving of this, but yeah, this is the shot. He's coming in. It was a really good wheel shot, and I couldn't see your face, but I would imagine you're grinning ear to ear, kind of watching him come in on him. So. What's a guy think like when you're running with the guy when you see him just coming at the guy that's kind of up against you?
Oh, it's awesome. And at the Derby, if you watch the tape, at when it came down to us three, it was just holding them a little bit, letting them hit me, so Luke and spin around and get a shot that he wanted, I'll do that any day of the
Hey,
week.
you got your show ender though, and it was this one right here. Uh,
Yeah.
that was the showstopper. Anytime you get a guy's bumper that high, there's things get broke. So,
Yeah, no, it was
but
fun. It was definitely fun. Ready to do it again, that's for sure.
so how did your year go this year? I've
I
seen, I've
got
seen, I've kind of seen a lot of Facebook posts from you. We're Facebook friends, and I try to follow all the Missouri drivers as best I can, and I've seen a lot of first place trophies coming home with you. Couple seconds, a third, I think, one show, and
no thirds, no thirds. I got
Really?
four wins and 2 seconds.
Your other
okay.
car got third.
Yeah, I let my buddy drive the Oldsmobile that I ran at the racetrack last year at the end of the year show. He got a third and a fourth out of that.
So what goes through your mind when you pull on the track for like when you're pulling into the Derby arena? Do you get goosebumps, or is it something that you did enough of now that there's no real goosebump or nervousness there?
There's always nerves. I get nervous quite a bit, but just once after that first hit is over, that's gone. I'm ready to go.
So it's after the first hit for you. Uh, Mine, every time I've been out there, it's once the flag drops, it's just gone. But like pre-race or pre-derby, I'm nervous as all get out.
Oh
I
yeah,
try to play it cool, but
it never goes away. At least for me.
yeah, most of mine is like I'm just nervous that I'm gonna get out there and something stupid's gonna break. Like you go over your car so many times, and you just don't want nothing. You want it to perform the way that you imagine it, the week before, the days leading up to it. And I've always said if you're not nervous, then I don't think it's the sport for you. Like if you don't have some kind of hype or feeling pulling on that track, and uh I don't know. To me, I feel like you got to have something.
Oh yeah, it's it doesn't matter if it's 4 cars, 5 cars. When we're on the track, there's a gut feeling that you want to perform, and if you don't perform good, that's mostly what I'm worried about. Is not performing how I should.
So, do you have a pretty good crowd that follows you around?
I really don't know. I got a good pit crew. I know that.
Yeah. I heard a lot of cheers when you came on the track. I was like, dang, he's got a bunch of fans here. So, um, I was just wondering if you had a traveling posse or something, uh, following you around, maybe.
No, not really. Just family and friends. Family friends.
Well, do you have a piece of advice for someone that's thinking about getting started in demolition derby, or maybe they're listening to this podcast and they go, I think I'm gonna try that. You got any advice for anyone that's just starting out?
If you don't do good your first year, don't give up. It will
Yeah, I
come.
love that. I love
More
that.
experience, the better you'll get.
I love that. And that's what I tell everybody. You're not really losing. I mean, you're losing, but you're learning more than you take away something from every show. I feel like every show you go to, you're gonna take as a driver, fan, anything, you're gonna take something away. Especially if you're a lot of guys will see they're hanging around the cars, they're helping with the cars, and then they're like they get that opportunity to drive a buddy's car, or a buddy helps them get kind of get started. And um, there's nothing like seat time. I mean, things
Oh,
happen on the track that uh veterans see coming. The rookie drivers or the people that are just starting out, maybe they really don't see things happening the way a veteran would, or maybe something goes wrong in the car and they don't know how to fix it on the fly, and maybe a veteran driver has some kind of fail-safe way of getting out of that situation because they've been through that exact same situation, and
okay.
we see it all the time, and so that's what I try to tell everybody. This generation that's coming out, they're like this new generation. They give up easy, and
Yeah,
it's I think it's because of you know the accessibility sometimes that you have on your phone. If you need to figure something out, you just touch a button and you got the answer. And sometimes it ain't like the old days where you're hoping that somebody that you can call over to the shop, or or maybe your dad will give you some advice and not watch you struggle for 5 hours on something, then go, oh, you all you have to do is this.
I
I
always
went
ask questions. Always,
when we
no
were
matter
growing
what it
up,
is.
we there's a they showed us some things, and the rest of it is like you're gonna figure it out or not. So uh we did things that weren't always the right way, but we got them to work. So, but what's next for you? You got any more plans the rest of the year? Or?
Me and Luke are gonna try and get ready for sales, but we're gonna switch everything over from the black Cadillac that he ran at Eldon over to my dad's Cadillac that he sold to him that he ran last year at Eldon, the white one. It's just gonna be a too much to do
Yeah,
within a week.
yeah. You want to make sure your cars are right before you
Yeah,
go anywhere. Oh,
don't want
that's
to
one
miss
thing
anything.
I tried telling people. They we you're teched. We tech the gut and go cars, or get out of here with that crap. Oh my gosh, my kids are crazy. Uh, good thing you can't see behind me. But yeah, we see. There's cars that are barely running. I'm like, there ain't no way I would show up to Derby like that.
No,
Well,
bro. Yeah, make
nope,
sure
Joshua,
everything's
he's not
right.
coming on. Um, so you got any sponsors or anyone you want to thank?
Uh, Sure Works Inc. It's my mom's business, and Jake Reed's Garage, my dad. I'll throw in Nemo installation. Rob and Trey's helped me quite a bit.
Well, that's good. You guys got a solid group of guys, and uh, man, I remember back, well, maybe 11, 12 years, 13 years ago, we were all fans of secretly of DMP. Like, there was a big rival at Eldon, and some of my buddies were like, "Man, I gotta them guys show up. We try our best. You guys would smoke them." And um, we went to Blizzard Bash that year, and you guys had orange cars one year, and I loved it. Uh, so everybody knows orange. What we've always ran, and that
Oh yeah.
you
Oh
guys were orange that one year, and we were like, "Sweet."
yeah.
uh,
Who's on that team? You, CJ, where orange cars. Was it you,
Jay
CJ,
Barnes, him, uh,
Harper, and Fat? Yeah, we ran. Yeah,
Sam, maybe
Harper, Fat,
Sam Bandow or whatever.
Sam Bandow. He ran. Harper and Fat ran that one year at making orange team too.
Orange and black.
Oh, he's talking about Blizzard Bash. He never ran the orange at Blizzard Bash, but
I didn't run the suit that year.
he did run around Macon with the orange.
You guys weren't orange one year at Blizzard Bash?
I think it
Huh.
was 14. I didn't run with them.
Oh, okay.
switched
They
from
were orange.
green and black to the orange and black.
Yeah. We got
Or no,
what's
15.
Fat's,
15.
What's Fat's full name? You know? Ugh, I don't.
Michael. I can't
Well,
remember his last name. Michael.
Anyway, anytime the listeners, I'll just say it, anytime you guys see the DMP cars show up, there's usually a really good show coming. So we appreciate the way that you guys drive. Always love seeing you guys show up, and thanks for all you do for the Derby world. I know there's a lot of knowledge coming out of that shop, and I see you passing the torch kind of, and you're even helping the guy along that bought your setup and stuff. So that's it's always good to see.
Yeah.
I hope they carry it on. I hope we see a lot more of you guys. So, but thanks for
I appreciate you putting on. Well, y'all putting on a good show.
thanks for coming on. We try our best.
If you don't
There's
have a
a lot of
tsunami at Eldon, it'd have been a better track, but
yeah, if we don't have a tsunami and we can ever figure out the dirt, I don't. Them guys, they worked their tails off all week long on that track. I mean, everybody's seen they had that vibrator and roller in there, and
no, Henry just sent me videos of it, and I was like,
anytime you have that, I mean, that track that should have been like driving on pavement, but it wasn't. So we just gotta kind of assess the track and see what we can do to make it better. So them guys that are working on it, they're top notch. So and
yeah.
they put in a lot of effort. A lot of people seen the effort, and we were really happy about the all the drivers. They were very understanding. I felt like from everyone I talked to, we trying our best. So we appreciate you guys coming, and thanks for coming on the podcast. It's great to hear from you, talk with you just a little bit. Great advice on never giving up, because that's what we've always, that's our family motto. So Grandpa's got it on every single wrecker, and we've got it on our cars and stuff like that. So great advice, and if we don't see you anymore this year, we'll look forward to seeing you sometime next year.
You'll see
thanks
us
for
at
coming on the
Versailles.
podcast.
No, not for
Yeah.
sale.
Not Versailles, sorry. Fulton.
Bolton, maybe. Perfect. Yeah, we'll see you there, and have a good week, man. Thank you.
You too.
See ya.
See you, Jonathan.
See ya. All right, that was Eric Reed, the 71X. He was able to bring home the win in the super and the full size street stock class at Eldon during the Turkey Fest. And we're going to kind of recap real quick on the Turkey Fest, and then we'll get to what's coming up. There's a lot coming up this weekend that we got to get to, but we're going to do a quick little recap of the event of the Turkey Festival. So first and foremost, I want to say special thanks to Ray's Lawn Landscaping, Simpson Grading, and Olean Quarries for all their hard work on the track this week at Eldon. Top-notch guys. They did an excellent job coming out there. They rolled that track like 2 or 3 times. They had sheep footed it. They did the best they could. We had a lot of rain leading up like Monday, Tuesday, and we were hoping that track would just, absorb that and really come into a hard packed track. And them guys worked their tails off on it. And I went out there Friday and I walked the track and I was like, this is going to be an amazing show. And Saturday we got there and we started walking the track and it was kind of soft. And we're like, ooh, we don't need much water on this thing. And we have to water just to try to avoid some ruts, but sometimes felt like it rutted even more, but we'll figure it out. Heat 1, we started with figure 8 guys. We had a figure 8 demolition derby combo. The rest of our shows are going to be at Lucky Sevens that way. So Heat 1 came out, and right off the bat. Dylan Cardwell came home and jumped out to the lead, him and Wells, and um, Brett and Kiesling and Jordan Piter did a really good job keeping up. But it was about 4 laps in, it was really starting to hole out. We started to see, the cars really shifting around and taking effect when they were hitting them holes. And all the drivers, they're very understanding about the track, and they all said, "Look, man, we all got to race on the same track. Tearing up your car is part of it. Sometimes there's a lot of equipment being tore up just by the ruts and stuff." But they were, you watch some videos, and sometimes you could see them like, "Yeah, we're running the low line," but then it was like a one line track, so it was a do or die situation on where they would race at. And you see some of them guys taking the holes, trying to, just searching for anything to make it better, and where they could advance up the positions. Jay Stark, he had a good race. He was pushing towards the end, and then he got caught up in the center. He ended up in fourth place, and Rhett had a really good race going in heat number one, and then he ended his race early due to a part failure. Heat two came out. Michael Belcher had a new car. We were wondering how that was going to do. He did pretty good in it. John Waller, new to the sport. He's been hanging around, asking to ride with guys, and we just knew eventually we'd see him in a car. He kind of told me that he was going to get a car. He was really enjoying the figure eight stuff, and we seen this guy in derby cars, and he jumped in there and he did an amazing job. Um, he was actually racing. He got all the way up to second in this race, and he smoked the tire about lap 3 or 4. Dylan White and Corey Burton, Nick Long, and all of them were running up there towards the front. And Nick Long and Dylan ended up taking this one home for the top 2 transfer spots. Corey lost the tire, and it kind of uh, slowed him down a lot on those last couple laps. So heat three, we got to see Justin Quincy. He got to come out there and decided to try his hand in a little bit of figure eight racing, and um, he did pretty good. He was racing. There was like a one line. This was the heat. They just had scraped the track, and there was a really good line close to the tire, but everything else was pretty soft, like pretty ruddy in the corners. The middle of the track was awesome. Them guys were flying through the middle, but they'd have to really slow down for the corners. And it just wasn't as racy as we'd like to see it. But man, it kind of made for a game of chess. And as we seen, Robbie Kelly and Tony Cardwell on this one, they went wire to wire. No one could catch them, and they kind of just stuck with each other and left the field. Um, Heat four, uh, Dylan and Nate got out to an early lead, and then the back ends of everyone's cars were coming off the ground because just the ruts and stuff, and made for kind of a cool video because they were trying to search for each and every little thing that they could. And on the last lap, on this one, Matt Youngmeyer had a really good run going, and he was able to pass on the last lap. He kind of pushed Nate up, and he got right in behind Dylan for the first and second place, and Nate got the old bump and run done on him. So heat five, we got to see Troy Mitchell back out there. It's good to see Troy. And John Waller actually registered twice. He was so excited to race this race. And I said, "Did that guy register twice?" And they said, "Oh, yeah, he was ready to go." And they fought really hard for the lead. Them two were battling out like there was only one transfer spot. And old John was just knocking on Troy each and every corner. And Troy finally just kind of gave in, like, I've had enough is enough. And he decided to try to take his wheel off. He's bent the crap out of his John Waller's driver's side wheel, and about knocked it off. But in the process, he stalled his car out because he hit him so hard. And then after that, his rear end, Troy's rear end was coming undone too. But after the race, John Waller won that race, followed by Dustin Thompson. And after that race, I don't think there was a straight wheel left on um that car. And but he finished first, and he was real excited. He came up right after his heat and said, "They got me in B main number 2, and I'm gonna scratch that." And I was like, "Listen, if you've made the A, you don't have to run the B. You can still run the A." And he said, "Man, I just wanted you guys to know I I'm in the A. I don't want to ruin my car for the B." And I said, "You don't have to run that B." So, but heat 6, there's six total heats of the figure eight. Leland Bell and James Fisher had a really good going. Uh, Good run, good battle going, and Starks were doing really well on this one as well. He just ran out of laps, but he was definitely coming. That was Jason Stark. John Summers had a really good run going early. He was holding down the top 2 spots, and his car just kept pushing up. And Leland Bell decided to go up underneath of him, and he was doing really good. And Leland broke as well. So then both of them had part failures, and Tracy Snurse was driving Old Blue, Johnny Edgar's car, and his old car, and she came in third place. She seemed to really start picking up as the laps go on, and she was learning the track, how to maneuver the track, and really how to drive that car that she was driving. And you could tell the way she was punching them lap times down, and she was coming, and it was going to be a really good B main for her. In the B main number, so after the B mains, we had our gut and go demolition derby. We had 9 cars for this gut and go. We had 9 cars for the gut and go, and boy, was it! It was one of my favorite gut and goes I've seen um, in a while, because the drivers that were out there, they were up on the wick, full send. No one was, usually you got those drivers that were like are bagging to win. No one was really doing that in this one, and it was just a really fun derby for me to watch. And I just want to shout out to all the drivers for driving hard, and it was putting on a show. Gut and Go is meant to be a beginner class, a fun class, entries to the sport class, and all the drivers jumped out of their cars, shook hands. The Braun boys, the Bauer boys, they won, and they were all excited. But it came down to them too. And normally we see some cars break it off, or maybe we'll get the fans will get the pleasure of watching battle it down for the win, and that's what we got to see. We got to see the Bauer boys battle this one down. I mean, it was Caston and Kyron battling it down to the win, and I just made a video of them. They both jumped their cars for the crowd, and for hopefully for the camera, because I got them good, and it's gonna make a good video. And uh, there's a lot of views on it already, just because you guys putting it down. Kurt was able to get third. Charlie Burns getting fourth. He was driving real hard. Lost his bumper, and Kurt, he was having a good run going, and he kind of hit Charlie Burns, and one of the Bauer boys caught him off guard and took his wheel out. Them Bauer boys, I gotta say, they were wheel shot hunting. They were breaking axles off all night long. Right off the bat, we had John Parrish and Levi Rogers and Jesse Ortiz. They were just victims of the wheel shots. And Robert Crawl, shout out to him. He's probably the biggest guy out there in the smallest car, and he was just end to end, and he really looked like he was gonna be one of the top Mad Dog voters coming out of this. But uh, that Caston Bauer, man, you guys just got to go check out that gut and go um, on the YouTube channel. It's an action packed event, and uh, them boys were straight sending it. A lot of track for 9 cars, and they were using it. They were using it all. So uh, that's personally what I like to see as announcer and as a person that's videoing for YouTube, I really appreciate you guys going out there, putting it on the line for me, because and for the fans, because that's what Demolition Derby's all about. And you guys went out there and junked stuff. All right, and then we had our B mains after that for our figure eight. First B main, it went to let's see, Burton, Snurich, and Rhett and Piter all had a really good run going on. They were running very similar lap times, and then but this is the one that Corey Burton, he was driving uh, Tony Cardwell's car, and he ended up bringing home the win for wild card racing. Jared Snurich, him and Corey had a last lap battle going on, and Corey ended up edging him out, making a last lap pass. And Snurich was right there, though, coming around a checkered. If he would have cut it a little sharper, it might have been a photo finish, but Corey was able to get the win. B2 came out, and Landon Dow, man, he was kind of ran away with this one. Nate Dummermuth tried his best to catch him. Dustin Jordan started towards the back. Actually had the fastest lap of the heat, but he just didn't have enough time to reel in Landon for the B main number 2. Dustin said it was just a rough night for him, starting in the back, the track being not as racy as he'd like. Just couldn't ever make it up there to make it to the main. But in B3, Tracy Snurich drove away. We only had like 5 cars out there, maybe 6, and Tracy Snurich drove away from the field, and the Stark boys, they were just battling each other. Made for a really good race to watch between them two. But Tracy was able to put it in the winner's circle to, finalize the running order for the A main of the figure eight. And then we had our street stock full size and come out, and that was Eric Reed bringing home the win, and Luke West coming in second. William White was in third, Alex White in fourth. Justin Quincy was your Mad Dog overall vote for that one. I have a GoPro on. He made a couple really good shots. He was backing up at one point, kind of bounced off one of the white boys' tire, and kind of went airborne. All 4 tires come off the ground. Made for a pretty cool shot, and that GoPro was really cool. He really came across the track and made a really good shot. The second hit he makes in that video, and he gets his car fired up, and he just sends it. And first car he sees, he kind of just makes a really good wheel shot there, and you can see the amount that he's taken there. But well, and then we're getting to our A main. Our A main for our figure eight came out. This one was really cool to watch. It was a good race. They really hammered the track out to make it the best they could. And Dylan White, Dylan Cardwell had a really good run going side by side for probably 10 laps. And Blaine was right there behind him. He was, sometimes he'd even come and take the lead. The whole entire race, them 3 were just battling it out. And then we had just the top 8, I think, were in the lead lap of this one. So it was one of them races. If you make a mistake, you're not placed in the top 4, and that's what happened. I believe I haven't talked to him. I know Dylan White was trying out his hydraulic steering. I believe the hydro pump went out mid race, got too hot probably, and that kind of put him out of the running. He had a really good race going there, and Dylan Cardwell was able to bring home the win. Jordan Piter running Tony Cardwell's car was able to get second. So Tony made the feature and ends up second week in a row loaning his car out to someone at podiums. And Blaine Tobin get third, and Anthony Wells, your point leader, getting fourth place. So I think all he has to do is show up now, and he'll probably be your champion. Pretty sure. Matt Youngmeyer, top five. Nick Long got sixth, Landon Dow seventh, and then Dylan Light was your eighth car. So Johnny Waller getting the top 10 there. He did really good. Tracy Snurish running 10th place, beating, she said she was going to beat Johnny Egger from the go because she was driving his car and said, "Yep, I'm going to beat him." And she did. So Dustin Thompson, and James Fisher, Corey Burton, Robbie Kelly, and Tony Cardwell. Another did not start on Tony Cardwell. And then we get to our featured show of the evening. We had a bunch of full size bone stocks show up. I was super excited. We had, gosh dang, hold on just a second. We had a big donation from where is it? LRC Insulation. They donated 2,000 or $2,500 to this class, and a donation like that changes the mindsets for the drivers. There's always those drivers that want to drive hard and come out and do their best, but when you have $1,000 Mad Dog, uh, it really intrigues people to come out and drive hard and to put on a show. And boy, did we have multiple people that came out and they put on a show. We've seen some really clean old iron show up. We had, I mean, I was walking through the pits and I was just smiling because we had the Porter boys. I think we had like 12 Eldon cars there. 12 guys from Eldon, and they're parked in different areas of the pits. And you're like, is this the divide right here? Is this what we're going to see on the track? And I felt like it probably was. And it looked like that's exactly what happened. And it was from the drop of the flag, there were some tone setters out there. And once the pace is brought to you, you see the pace kind of pick up around the whole track. And the pace was brought, right off the bat. Matt Porter, Vince McGee, both of them back it up and just send it all the way across the track on the same car too. I mean, I don't know if there was like a pregame speech or something that they were going to go after that guy, but boy, that car was clean when it came in there, but it left and crumbles. I mean, oof. But let me get on here real quick. Sorry, I got a text. Hey, thanks for watching. All my Derby guys that are Snapchatting me. We appreciate you guys. All right, back to this. All right, so we had Matt Porter and Vince McGee setting the tone early and often, but Donald Porter was out there driving for Greg Quincy. He had a big memorial thing on his car, and I'm sure Justin was too. I'm sure Justin does. Every time he gets in his car, he thinks about that. But Donald was recognizing Greg as a big part of the community, and he had him on his car. And man, that Heath Boyd, he was driving that green and blue 17A, and he took it. I mean, he still drove it down to fifth place, but that car, he had two drivers that were definitely in the Mad Dog running, driving up on him. and There was a point in this video, I go back and watch the video on YouTube because when I'm recording, I don't see everything that happens because I'm trying to watch for the drivers that you think are going to send it across the track, or maybe you see a car making its way across the track at a good rate of speed that might be putting down a hit that you want to capture. You try to capture those big shots, and I know I missed a couple. Watching the video back, but I'm sure someone else has them. But felt like these bone stock driver or these stock class drivers showed up, showed out. I was super impressed with each and every one of them. We didn't seem like anyone was too mad after the show, and that's what everybody's shaking hands and telling each other good job, and that's what it's all about. Especially when you get a bunch of local guys, you worry about drama that don't have to be there. Dang it. And did it again. But so Brenton Holer Sharp, he said he was fighting a fuel pump. He did pretty good staying out of the way. There's a couple very tactical maneuvers he made when the cars were coming across the track that I noticed during the video, watching it back. Roy Porter, shout out to him. It's like riding a bike for him. I swear he gets out there and gets it done. The bad example himself. He just goes out there and wins. That's just what it's about for him. I mean, he shows up in your mind. You gotta think he's gonna be there at the end of the Derby, and he was. Darren Porter drove a hell of a Derby. Got second place. Both them Porters had to be really happy with each other. Jacob Sharp drove that 0-1 car down to nuts and bolts. That thing was barely running. A wheel was knocked off of it at the end of the Derby. I zoomed in on it on the YouTube video. You could see it barely hanging on there. Good job to him. Darren Witt in the D1. He had a really good looking car until about midway through. Him and Frank and James John got it on, and it really bent that car. And there's cars bending on each side. That was good iron. It was getting bent. So, great show. Dallas Hardy did pretty good out there. Jasper DeGraff and Reed managed to get sixth place. He has had a really good year driving, and honestly, I thought he was going to be there at the end, but uh, he ran into some issues out there. Um, James Johns and Frank Johns, it was good to see them guys from Mexico. They kind of had the numbers stacked against them. They had a few cars running with them, but uh, they had their work cut out for them, and they did a really good job for um, being the only two out of town cars there. And uh, them local boys, there was definitely a divide out there. If there wasn't, they were just, they weren't really just straight up picking on the Joneses, and it made a really good derby to watch. Steve Porter wasn't able to make the call. He's on there, but I don't know what was going on with his car. Couldn't make it the call to the track though. Aaron Porter did pretty good. Uh, Vince McGee drove a heck of a derby too. I had a GoPro on his car, and I don't know, probably a minute into the video, we get a red flag, and you hear. I mean, you could see it probably 30 seconds into the derby, he lost reverse, and you could see it, but he vocalized it on that GoPro. You could hear him yell. Someone's like, "You need to settle down." He's like, "I don't have reverse." So, and he's like, "Oh man," and I thought that was cool, so I left that part in there. I didn't cut it out or nothing. Um, but Mad Dog was Matt Porter. This was a very close and well-deserved Mad Dog. I didn't get to see the shot. I captured the end of it on camera, but boy, he parked in the back of that 17A. I mean, that trunk was pretty straight, and then it was in the back seat. Yeah. He ruined his front end on that shot as well, but it was worth it because I think that's the shot that solidified him the Mad Dog in the vote size. And I really didn't even see that shot, but watching it back, I could see a couple cars that were deserving if they'd have been the pick. They were deserving of the Mad Dog, and he was one of them. And great run, Matt. That first hit, I got to be honest, I wasn't expecting that out of you, but that was the tone setter. And once I seen that, I've known you to be able to get Mad Dogs in the past, and I knew probably should keep my eye on you the rest of the Derby. And you didn't. Your run did not disappoint. Midway through the Derby, Matt's car caught on fire, and he was able to get out of there. Scary moment for us promoters. We hate seeing cars go up like that. And uh, one thing I'm going to stress again, I kind of stressed it on the last podcast, guys. If you can wear fire jackets, if you're in a Derby car, try to wear a fire jacket at least, because you're running that car until it won't run anymore, and it's going to get hot. And if there's certain fluids in a car that are very flammable, and if a line bust or something like that, you're looking at a big fireball, and that's what we've seen again. We're super glad that you were able to jump out, be very quick on your feet, getting out of the car. Drivers did really good about getting stopped really quick, and I thought overall, for the most part, we had one driver that didn't see a red flag earlier in this derby, but thought for the most part, great job on the drivers for being aware of the cars on the track and as well as their surroundings, and keeping an eye on their officials, or maybe it was the lights that were hanging over the track. But good job getting cars stopped. And uh, I can't say enough about the show. You guys did awesome job. Thanks for showing up, showing out. Uh, Overall, Eldon Turkey Fest, we had the powder puff as well. Angie Burton drove away with the powder puff, and Bethany Baldwin Thompson got second. But overall, it was good to see uh, everybody back at the track. Hans Anderson and Beth Anderson. It's been a while, but we're happy to see you guys back out there as well. Scary stuff that you were telling us before the show, and we're glad to see you back. Eldon, that's a wrap. We appreciate all the sponsors, all the support to make that show what it was. And thanks for everybody for liking and sharing these videos that have been posted from that show. I'm trying to do a reel a day, and uh, try to get everybody's name out there that we can, and get some videos seen. But all right, we're looking ahead now. We're looking ahead to this weekend. We got a big weekend in the Derby world. Um, Trying not to make this podcast too long, but let's see here. All right, this weekend, Lucky Sevens promotion makes its trip to, I believe this is the third annual Apple Bash. If my memory serves, I don't have my historian on here tonight to tell me if that's correct or not. I believe it's the third annual Apple Bash. Um, Full size street stocks are going to be there in action. Like they said in the drivers' meeting and on Facebook, you're allowed. The rest of the derbies are going to be a cleanup show from here on. So you get 2 extra plates, and the street stock guys, look at the Lucky Sevens post. I was talking to some of the drivers that run that class, and they said the way that um, the additives are written, it evens the playing field. So it should be a pretty good full size street stock show. We'll either have a lot of locals, or we'll have a pretty good showing, as Henry Ray put it, the old Mad Dog himself. And we got 1,200 to win that one, and then we have our figure eight, 750 to win. And then we get one of my favorite classes ever invented, the MWFA from the street stock challenge. And Jacob built a car for someone in an hour and a half the other day. So there's still time. This show's Saturday. if you can get a car done in an hour and a half, he's a veteran derby builder. Probably 3 or 4 hours, you can have yourself a MWFA car ready to go. Can't do nothing to them. You just strip them out, and some people put a bar behind the seat or something behind your seat because, as we've seen in the past, just ask Zach Burton. Um, you want something behind your seat, or you'll be in the back seat or the trunk of the car, and or truck, SUV, full size sedan, whatever. You can run whatever type of car in this one. It's just got to be, from to the rules. Um, it's one of my favorite events because it's 500 to win, and as you see there, it's $1,000 purse plus 70% payback. So um, I'll kind of skip to that. There's a drawing, like everyone gets an envelope, and you could get last place on the track and have the second best pay. And we had that last year. We had a girl, she got mid pack probably, and she got the second highest pay out there, and that was Hayden. But um, we have fun with this one. It's everybody's there to have fun, and the drivers, they're you really don't care because you're getting something. And I mean, no one's really there to win. It's just to have fun, and that's definitely brings back like the old school feel of demolition derby. Let's just go out in the field and tear stuff up, and that's definitely what happens in the NWFA class. And if you're listening to this and you're like, man, I want to check that out, come to the show. Or if you're like, man, I should drive one of those, there's still time to build. Go find go rent a car from scrapyard for a couple $100 and take it back to them when you're done. You'll crush it for them, and it's gonna be fun. We can't wait to see everybody. The show starts at 7 p.m. The boys did tell me there will be Happy Gilmore checks um, for the winners. I'm guessing I didn't see the checks yet, but there will be Happy Gilmore checks. I don't know how far they go down or what, but for sure for the winners. Um, Tyler Ray with T Ray Trucking donating the highest bumper award, and that will be measured from the ground to the lowest point of the bumper. And Henry Ray was the one that built the bumper trophy. I got to see it already. It's pretty cool looking. All right, so that's what's happening here locally in the state of Missouri. But in the sport of demolition derby, there's something else happening this weekend and this week to start tomorrow night. Actually, it's Bristol. There's a lot of drivers from Missouri that are running Bristol. It's Bristol, baby, and we got. I mean, they did the heat draws tonight. There's a lot of excitement around this show. I really hope the track holds up. There's some things that you see that you wonder if the promoter was held to doing it that way by the track or whatever. But I've seen some pictures. The track's like in the corner. If I was there, I'd be paying for the better seats just so I could see because I'm pretty blind. But um, I think it's going to be a really good thing for Demolition Derby. There's a lot of big sponsors there, a lot of big potential sponsors that are there watching to see how the drivers carry themselves, how the event takes place, and I think with the level of drivers there, the feedback I've been hearing is it's very professional, and the drivers have been very courteous to their surroundings, and they're making themselves, they're looking good, and they're playing the part as where this place is trying to go with demo, being professional combat motorsports. And I'm glad someone's trying it. I'm glad someone's getting, you know, some trying some kind of organization to the outside world that don't really see much of the demo derby stuff. But in the first pro division is what they drew first. The first heat is Team Metro versus Team Derby Icons. So, or Dirty icons. Evan King, David King, Tom Henderson, and Matt Gaskin. For dirty icons, them cars are looking really good. Lot of experience going on the track in this one. Versus Team Metro. Metro cars they're as they said, they're trying to get all their cars still to pass tech. That's DJ Adamson, Julian Suter, Kyle Mason, Kirk Hireman. I'll say this. I think if they get all their 4 cars they're in, I think Team Metro is going to come out on top. There's a lot of people saying dirty icons is going to have us, but I think I've seen Julian Suter, Kyle Mason drive, and I think they're going to take the party to the King boys, and I think they're going to be able to get it done in the first heat. I could be wrong, but at this level, there's so much experience, and I think it's going to be a meshing thing. And I've seen some of these guys drive together before, and that DJ Adamson's car is looking mean, 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 mean. And I can't wait to see how that goes. I'm definitely gonna. If you're not able to watch this one, you can D-string or Derby Nation it, and I'll be doing that as just because I want to support the event the best I can. I can't make it there, so I'm gonna support it through the live stream. Second heat of the night or on the Pro Division, Hanson Motorsports versus RPM Redemption. When they drew this one, you could just feel the air getting sucked out of some of these guys. There was a lot of gas, like, ooh, this one's going to be a dogfight, and I believe it is. I think it's going to come down to, I think it's going to come down to that team that has the ability to recognize when another teammate's in trouble, who's had that experience. And Team RPM Redemption is going to be my pick. Derek Creetlow and Mike Mowery, Tyler Quast, Brandon Myers. Them guys are really good skills. They're good together. I've seen them drive together, and I think they're going to be a tough out all week long. Hanson Motorsports is them cars are mean. They're used to the rule set. I'll say that I feel like this rule set helps. They're more used to it than probably RPM Redemption is, and that might be the difference maker. Maybe they know, where they can cut some ties and stuff, or win here and there. But Team Hanson, that's Hanson Motorsport. That's Pete Hanson, Caleb Joy, Corey Roman, and Dustin Joy. The Joys are a joy to watch, and I think this is going to be really hard fought battle. And I know a lot of people think that this one's going to get crazy wild, and I think there's going to be more of a driving in this one than a lot of people think. There's going to be those big shots from RPM Redemption or maybe the Joys, and but I think there's definitely going to be a chess match within this on the team, like at driving as a team. Say that. But RPM Redemption, that's who I'm pulling for in this one. I think that's going to be the one that wins. And so this brings us to Heat 3. Heat 3 is Team Octane and Kinman Demolition. Uh, so Team Octane has a lot of experience in the team driving world. They are Dylan Kunkel, Craig McCracken, Kyle Pudwitter, and Denton Bishop. When you say them names, they're well-known team drivers, and I'm picking them. Jason Kinman, Matthew Kinman, Josh Hutchinson, and Eric Jeffers. I think that's going to be a really good team, but I just don't think they're going to have enough for Octane. I think it's going to be a hard-fought battle, but I think Octane's going to win. But I will say this could be The Kinmans have ran Dustin Woods' rules and how they are interpreted and stuff. I feel like it's going to play a big part in the way these cars hold up. And if the track holds up the way I think it will, it's going to come down to driving. And I think the Team Octane is going to bring this one home. Team BDP versus Toast Inc. I'm picking Toast. Vince Olivia's, Rhett Gluey, Ryan Duran, and Shane Jones. Anytime you got Rhett Gluey or Toast himself, Vince on your team, and Ryan Durham. I mean, all them guys that's a good team right there. And I'm gonna pick them. I think it's gonna be a hard fought battle for sure because that BDP is Patrick Browder, Lucas Weidman, Chad Petrie, and Justin Louisiak or whatever. I haven't got to watch them much, so they could surprise me. I'm sure that anyone on this level that's in this show is they're there for a reason. So I'm excited to see this one. Pink Team Transmissions versus Vortex. Pink Team Transmissions is going to be Bruce McGuire, Tim Jones, Brian Parrott, and Tony Bowman versus Vortex, and that's Ben Bowersock, Jacob Cummins, James Davey, and Josh Adams. Josh Adams, your car is looking good. I think this one's going to get wild. I think this is the heat that people are going to be surprised by, just by how crazy there are going to be haymaker shots there in this one. If the track's right, it's going to be haymaker after haymaker. And I think I got a feeling this one's a hard call, but I think Pink Team Transmissions, I've got a gut feeling that they're going to bring this one home. It's going to be fun to watch that. But it gets better because the very next heat, probably the heat of the last two heats, are probably going to be your heats the most carnage and torn up stuff is going to come out of just because of how even they are and that RPM and Hanson ones. Those are the ones I'm looking forward to. I think XP Derby parts versus Team America. This is going to be the heat that you're going to see everything in. The Johnson boys, XP, Zach, Troy Johnson, Chris Collins, Jared Haney versus Team America, and that's Xavier Strelo, Mike Ebro, Carson Dixon, them guys. We've seen these guys go against each other at Blizzard Bash, and it's a coin flip. I'm gonna say XP Derby Parts pulls this one out, but they're gonna have to really fight for it. Team America are no slouches, and I think you could flip a coin in this one, and whatever it lands on, that could be the team that would win. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna pick this just due to the way I've seen these guys drive over the years. I've seen the way they're aware of where their teammates are at all times. It's like they've got headsets on or something. It's crazy. These guys they're like on the same thought path or same thought level, and that's what it takes to be a really good team. And I think there's gonna be there's a lot of carnage in this one, but there's gonna be some hurt cars. But I think XP Derby Parts is gonna be the winner, and it's gonna come down to 2 versus 1, maybe 1 versus 1. I don't think they're sweeping this one. Next one, Team Kansas versus Coke Motorsports. Coke Motorsports, Jason Coke, Nathan Beaver, Casey Beeks, David Merle versus Team Kansas. Probably one of the well-known teams in America. Chad Markley, Brent Clemens, Barry Clemens, and James Kitchell. Little different team Kansas than we're used to seeing. Will that change the way the outcome of this one? I don't know. For some reason, I think the Coke boys are gonna come out and win this one. Underdog. I say that they're the underdogs. In my eyes, they are the underdogs, but I think they're gonna pull it off. I think something crazy is gonna happen to someone's car on Team Kansas, and the odds are gonna be stacked against them. Could that go the other way? Could Markley take out three of their wheels right off the get go? Yeah, possibly. But Coke Motorsports, I like the way your cars look. You're going to be my pick on this one. I've seen a lot of these cars, and man, how if you're a fan of Demolition Derby, there's been a lot of people that have negative things to say, but how aren't you excited knowing that they're following the format that we've seen at Gold Rush? You got to win 4 versus 4, the best 4 versus 4 that night. Move on. Uh, how aren't you excited about this? I mean, them Coke Motorsport cars, them lines are looking good, and they brought some maneuverability. I think that's what's going to win. The track's a little smaller than what I was thinking it was going to be, but um, I think maneuverability is going to play a big part in the way these teams perform. All right, let's get to the Pro Light, which is probably should just be called Pro 2 because the cars are built a little different, but dang. This is the stacked field. Team MDI is not playing. They're not running. So there's going to be a bye. That's one an RDP Realistic Derby Project. They got the bye. I was really looking forward to watching Dalen and Cody Brown drive and Dalton Palmer and Alan Hassey. I was looking forward to watching them guys party, but uh, no one drew them, so they don't have to run the first round. And the Pro Light, we got the Click drew triple threat right off the bat. Triple threat. The Eaton boys. That's the wagons. They got a couple wagons, and I think they're gonna bring it home. That the Click is. Wait, I might be thinking this wrong. Yeah. Corey Parrish, man, I'm friends with him on Facebook. His car is looking right. Zach Sullivan, Curtis Hammond, and Harry Hatton. I think this one's going to be really good, Derby. I feel like for some reason that the triple threat's going to bring this one home, but man, the Click is nothing. I wouldn't be surprised if they won. I think it's going to be. I think the Click's going to be pillar parking, or I think the yeah. I think the Click's going to be pillar parking, but it's going to cost them their steering on them wagons. The Meat Boys, they're tough to beat. All right, we got Derby Builds versus SRDB. Derby Builds, Luke Schaffner, Ryan Schaffner, Brody Rumbold. That's Bryce Lanou. Seen them guys drive. Really good drivers, good builds. Sure, whoever drew them was not going to be, they're going to have their work cut out for them. And Devin and Brady Allen and Joey Braun and Jeremy Hine and Team SRDB drew them. That was a team that I was when they came in, I was like, this team could they could make some noise. But I just don't think they have enough to get past Derby builds. I've seen too much out of the Schaffners, and Bryce Lanew's is a wheel man, and that's going to be a dogfight, and I think that's going to be close with that Caddy Nation Derby builds heat from Blizzard Bash. That's going to be a fun heat to watch. Dylan Cardwell. Yep. Can't have you on every week, even though you're winning. But NLR versus RCM was the next heat. See, I can make my predictions on these because openly, because these drivers ain't gonna call me and say you jinxed me. They know it's all good fun. NLR, um, that's Whitaker Salvage, Bobby Whitaker, Dustin Gilgis, Eric Blom, John Mavis. RCM's a good team with Rick Clark, Lee Johnson, Bob Switzer, Tony Miller, but I'm sorry. NLR is going to be my pick, and it's going to be the way this is set up. I think it's going to, on this side of the bracket, I think NLR and Derby builds is what it's going to come down to on that side of the bracket to get to the championship round. We have Blackout versus No Namers. Next heat. No Namers, Jason Dawes, Dan Mars, TJ Holmberg, Tim Toddy. Old Timmy. Versus Team Blackout. And Team Blackout is the Kish boys, Daniel and Bradley Kish, Kurt Brinkman, Brian Rolls. Man, this one here is going to be a good one. This whole bracket, this is a stacked list. The whole pro light division, in my eyes, is crazy. Whew, that is a tough pick. See, I would pick the Blackout's gonna. I think Blackout's gonna win this, but guys don't the no namers. I feel like this is the build for them. Like we seen it last year, Blizzard Bash when they came back down. Oh my gosh, that's a better build for their suit. Like it's more of their what we seen Jason Dowles bring home all that cash down there, Capital City Carnage. This is this build favors their driving style more. And I just think the Kishes are going to be too much. I just, uh, Bradley and Daniel Kish, Brinkman and Roll. That's going to be a tough team, tough out there. Then we got Chaos in the Valley versus Caddy Nation. I got to pick my boy Rob Trey Hewer. Caddy Nation's going to be my pick. I see them guys too much, and Teddy P, Mason Larson, that's the dream team, man. That is them guys driving together is the best team driving I've ever seen in my life, and in the full size class, and yep, I'm picking them. But I think it's going to be a hard fought battle at Chaos in the Valley. Jonathan Patton, Eric Suit, Jake Knight, Matthew Kingery. Them guys are no slouches. At this level, anything can happen. And sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, but I think Shoot. Battery is done. And it might be still. I don't know. Let's see. Take charge. I lose you guys. It's because I don't. My computer's messed. Okay. I want to see what that's all about. Uh, if I wouldn't have any kind of problems, no, I think something was wrong. But all right, we have Walden Demo versus Ruts Fab Farm. That's Jordan Rutherford, John Rutherford, Seth Rutherford, and Scotty D versus some very experienced drivers in the Walden shop: Shea Walden, Duke Scrotch, CJ Zacharias, and Kurt Zacharias. I think I'm gonna pick experience over this. Boy, I don't know. The Rutherfords got a lot of experience too. They brought. I'm gonna go with Ruts Demo. I'm changing it. I just don't know much about the Walden team, Walden Demo. I just don't know much about them. So I'm gonna pick the Rutherfords and Scotty D to move on for the first round. But if they go against Caddy Nation next round, that's gonna be bad on them. Or I just gotta see how this bracket plays out. I don't know. I don't know who's going against who. But yep, so those are my picks. There's also huge derby going on in New York this weekend. So it's good. It's going to be they're big, just a weekend full of derbies. If you can't catch the Apple Bash, I'll be recording there. So um, the videos will be posted later this week. But check out the demo at Bristol. If the track holds up, it'll be good. Uh, I just don't know the way the track's looking at the that I've seen. I just in my heart, I hope it holds up, but I'm just thinking it's not gonna be hard enough, but it might be. I've been wrong lots of times, so thanks for everybody for tuning in to another episode of the Crashed It podcast. We thank you for all your likes, support, tuning in, following me. We do our best that we can each and every week, trying to just make sure that people have memories whenever they're growing up and have their kids and we want them to be able to show their kids what they used to do for fun, or if they're legends like the guys on this list, or maybe if you're a local legend, be able just to show your grandkids what people are talking about, the stories they hear, just to kind of show them, let them relive that a little bit. So it's all about the experience, and we're trying to capture that the best we can for each and every person. Special thanks to everybody that's been helping me out along the way. We really appreciate it. And I'm excited for a weekend full of derby. Uh, See you all next time on the Crash It podcast. Send them and bend them. It's been fun. I don't know.